Lesson 2, Part 8, Revising the Program Code. Now that you have seen how to use association lists in AutoLISP code, you can use this method in writing the completed version of the GP getPointInput function. Using the following code, replace or modify the version of GP getPointInput you previously saved in GP main LSP. If you need or want to type code into GP main LSP rather than copy it from another file, you can save time by leaving out the comments or lines that begin with semicolons, but don't get used to the idea of writing code without comments. So we can copy the whole code there, and we're gonna define get. So we got that. We just change only the getPointInput function. You're gonna see that function getPointInput function. Description: this function asks the user to select 3 points in a drawing, which will determine the path location, duration, and size. If the user responds to get functions with a valid data, use .pt and npt to determine the position, length, and angle at which the path is drawn. Return the value of each. This function is a list consisting of starting point, ending point, width, length, and angle paths. List of 3 reals, a point denoting starting point of garden path. List of 3 reals, a point denoting ending point of garden path. Real number denoting boundary width. Real number denoting boundary length. Real number denoting the angle of the path in radians. That's the very detailed description of the function. That's very good. So here we got the defined function getPointInput, and we have the input parameter, which is start point, end point, and half width, which is all local variables. And we have an if setQ is this is for assigning value to a variable. This is a variable name, and this variable name will be getting the information from that getPoint function. Similar if set endpoint, and similar set half width we're gonna get from distance. So half width is gonna get from distance, but down there is a list construction with the association code. So it's gonna be construct the 10 is the start point, 11 is end point, 40 is the width, not the half width. So we need to use a multiplication and half width on the left and the value to multiply width on the right. And we got the constant 50 is angle, constant 41 is distance from start point to end point. And that's it for the function. You can save it, come back there. So next you need to update the main function cpath in GP. Modify it to look like the following code. So here the main function. So in the main function gpath there, you're gonna change that part of the function from here to down there. Is that correct? End of the program, basically end of defined function. That's the new here exists quietly. If you are copying and paste the code and adding the following commands as a header preceding the gpath, so we need that for the main part of the function. So we're gonna have that. So this function is function gpath, the main garden path function. Description: this is the main garden path function. It is a function, meaning that this is to return to an AutoCAD command called gpath. This function determines the overall flow of the garden path program. That's the description. The GP path data variable is an association list of the form. So you got 10 is starting point, 11 is ending point, 40 is the width, 41 is the length, 50 is path angle, and 42 is tile size, 43 is tile offset, and 3 is object creation style. 4 is polyline border style. Function gpath is the main program function and defines the AutoCAD gpath command. So you got define function gpath, and the input is gp path data, and you're gonna ask the user for input for the first path location and duration. Then for path parameters, continue only if you have valid input. Store the data in gp path data. If you and then you're gonna set the gp path using getPoint input function, and that getPoint input function is actually the user defined function before getting into this function. And then if something, you're gonna get dialog input, and then you're gonna program this. At this point you have valid input from the user. Draw the outline, storing the resulting polyline pointer in the variable called polyline name. Then you set polyline name is actually raw outline, and you print out the gp draw outline function, return that value, and you print out the polyline name, and you close that, and you go, congratulations, your program is complete, and you end the program, and you print out function cancel if it's not. So if it's finished, you print out it's finished, and you call the program, and if it's not, just print out the function is cancelled. So it's just like this is true and this is false. If it's not true, it's gonna be false. The similar in this if, you're gonna have the if here, you're gonna get that dialog input, and this is the end. If the input is not working, it's gonna end. It's gonna print out that the function record and end the if function. Similar, if the get point is not working completely, then it's gonna print out incomplete information to draw a boundary. Then it's gonna end the function using a parenthesis, and then it's gonna just exist quietly and then end the define function. So to test the code revision, you save the update file, use the check feature to search for any syntactical errors. So you're gonna make it to check text in this editor. Got check done, nothing is wrong there, so that's all good. You format the code to make it more readable. So I'm sure that's a format edit, format selection, so hopefully it's more readable. Then you load the code so that ReviseTheProCode refine the earlier version of the function. So what you need to do is just load the code again. So in order to load the code, just go to Tools, called Load Text in Editor, and you got that is loaded. To run the program, you type in that CZgraph, and it's gonna bring you. So if the program does not run successfully, try fixing it and return it again. Repeat until you are too frustrated to continue, or if all else fail, you can copy the correct code from the tutorial ReviseTheProCode lesson 2 directory. But here for me it's working pretty well. So it's gonna ask me to start the point at the path there, end point there, and the width there, not very bad. The function gp get dialog input will get user choices to a dialog. We're not gonna work with it now. This function will draw the outline of the following outline of the polyline and return a polyline entity name and pointer. So we can see that this function is gonna do that. So congratulations, your program is complete. So after complete, we got that. So that is it for revising the program code, which is part 8 of lesson 2 using ReviseTheProCode debugging tools.